Poster paint is terrific stuff. It's easy to mix and it's easy to use. The trouble is, it's not very easy to keep. It flakes easily and it smudges easily. Have a look at this. This is a little picture done just with poster paint. But if I bend it, have a look what happens to the paint on the house. It all cracks off. It's not very stable. Not only that, it smudges easily. Have a look at this. Get a wet cloth, wipe it over there and smear. No good at all. So, although it's easy to use, it's not very easy to keep. And it's not terribly useful in that form for posters because they're exposed to wind, which buffets them, and rain, which smudges them. On the other hand, we can make our poster paints into plastic paint just with the addition of milk. You see, if you take a glass of milk, there we are, just ordinary milk, perfectly fresh too, but add to it some acid, and vinegar will do, and stir it up, you get a surprising result. It changes its qualities. In fact, this is what happens to milk when it goes old. Bacteria get into it, and as they grow, they produce acid, and that curdles the milk, so that instead of being nice and smooth, as it was when I had it before, you find if you pour it out, it's actually quite lumpy. It's got curds in it. There they go. You can see the lumps going in now. In fact, they form flakes on the side of the glass. Now, those curds or flakes are a very important part of milk called casein. And it's important not only because of its food value, but because it can be dissolved in alkalis, special chemicals, to form glues and plastics. And we'll do that for you one day on the program. But now we're interested in how you can use casein in milk to make your own plastic paints. So let's get rid of that. If you just take ordinary powdered milk and you mix it up into a watery solution, it comes out like that, just ordinary powdered milk, a bit thicker than you'd drink. You can use it as a paint and paint onto paper with it. And if you do and you let it dry, this is how it comes out. There's the word milk. Very hard to see. It's almost clear, but if you tilt it so the light comes off it, you can see there's a little reflective surface there. It looks like plastic. And indeed, the casein has formed a sort of plastic out of that powdered milk. And if you mix it up with your powder paints, you're going to get a good effect with it. Let's do it. Let's find a bit of paper. This will do. You can just see how it spreads. Well, first of all, the proportions you need are about equal. Perhaps a little bit more powder paint than poster, or a little bit more powdered milk, I should say, than powder paint. Here we go. That's the powdered milk going in there, and a bit less than that of the powder paint. And then you top it up with water. At least you don't really top it up. You make whatever consistency you like out of it. I'll make a fairly thick brew, I think. Not much water. And stir it round with the brush. And it forms a rather nice paint. It's rather creamy in consistency, a bit like thick condensed milk or powdered milk mixed up. And it forms a very acceptable paint to work with. Here we go. Nice and smooth, and not unlike the powder paint, just with water, until it's dry. And then it's very different, because this is the difference you get. Let's move that to one side. That's a bit of painting done, and the top one has used powdered milk with the powder paint. The bottom one hasn't. And look what happens if you drag a wet cloth over it. Okay, here we go. It doesn't smear the top one, but it does smear the bottom one. Let's have another go. So he smears it quite badly. But the top one's a plastic paint now with the casein, and it stays really untouched by the water. Not only that, if you do a full painting with it, and that's all used the powdered milk, and you crumple it up, it's very stable. It doesn't flake at all. So there you are. Taking powder paint and powdered milk and using the casein in the latter, you can make your own plastic paints.